Yeah, all right, shalom, shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakak Wadash. I want to say give double honors to the apostles and the bishop elders, a great millstone for teaching his word in truth and sincerity and for ruling well. And salutations to the elect, 144,000, along with the mixed multitude of men, women, and children who also believe of the nation of Israel, those that are scattered abroad, which make up the rest of the 1/3. And I'm the brother, the bar YAHAWADAH from GMS Hawaii, and I'm coming to you with another lesson. In this lesson, I did it a pre-recorded lesson. Excuse me, but the voice didn't come out, so basically, it didn't have any audio. So I just figured I'd just get on. The spirit just jumped on me to do it live, okay? And so again, I hope you're edified. I'm just looking for something real quick. But yeah, so this lesson was inspired by this image that you see right here in front of you. This image was, I first saw this image years ago when I was a young man, probably like around like 1999, maybe like 98, 99. This image, it was Slakia. This image was introduced to me when I was a young man through this album cover art by The Roots. Their album was called Things Fall Apart. And so some time ago, maybe like a week or two ago, it had jumped in my spirit to look at this image. And I looked at the image, and when I came across this image, you know, it was really poignant to me, especially being in the truth and understanding why things are the way they are for us as a nation. Okay. And so this picture, it says, you know, there's a saying in the world, you know, a picture is worth 1,000 words. You know, basically a picture can tell you more than what words can tell you or illustrate. And that's why the title of the lesson is called An Illustration of the Curse Written in Deuteronomy 28 and 25. And I'll get that in a second. But anyway, like I said, this image was really poignant to me when I was a kid. I wasn't a kid, I was a younger man. But I'm 45 now, so this album has to be like well over 25 years, 26 years old. Probably more than that. Because if I'm 20s, yeah, it gotta be more than that. Damn near 30. Shit. Let me see. I'm just doing the math. Just bear with me, brothers. Let me do the math. Let's say 1998. Really like 99, but that's like 98. Minus 2025. Yeah, it's 27 years old. So it's almost like 30 years old. So it's almost 30 years ago. And this image always stuck with me, you know, because like I was saying in the last lesson when I did it, when I saw this image, it was like I could hear this woman screaming, or this young girl screaming. She was screaming for her life. She was running for her life, right? And, you know, they didn't really give too much illustration. They didn't give too much understanding of the illustration. It was just something that made you want to buy their album. You know, their album cover art, you know, was, oh, let me buy this. Let me see what this album is about. And the album is called Things Fall Apart. And so anyway, long story short, that being said, I wanted to illustrate the curses, because what you see here is a so-called black man, another one sitting up on a corner, and then these two so-called black women, young girls, running for their life from a so-called white man, right? And when people see this image, you don't understand that this is actually a curse, you know, because these nations, they're supposed to have this kind of terror and dread in them when they see us. But because we broke the Lord's laws, statutes, and commandments, this is where we find ourselves in the condition today. All right, real quick, this is the book of Deuteronomy 28, and I'm going to start at 15. But it shall come to pass, it says consequences of disobedience. And when you see images like this is the consequences of our disobedience. You know, that our enemies, these nations, who the Lord is not with at all. He don't love these nations. He don't care for these nations. He don't hear these nations. But the Lord uses man to be a sword against us. Real quick, this is the book of Psalms, I believe it was 17. Hopefully I'm right. Just bear with me. Psalm 17. Psalms 17. Yep. The water Yahawabah Shai. Man, I could start at 11, really. Well, really, I'll start at 8, right? This is the book of Psalms, chapter 17, verse 8. Keep me as the apple of the eye. Hide me under the shadow of thy wings, right? When we kept the Lord's laws, statutes, and commandments, when we were obedient to Yahawah Shai, this is what we should ask the Lord. This is King David asking the Lord these things. Keep me as the apple of thy eye. When the Lord keep you as the apple of his eye, he don't allow these nations to overcome us. He don't allow these nations to come against us, right? Keep me as the apple of the eye. Hide me under the shadow of thy wings, from the wicked that oppress me, from my deadly enemies who compass me about. And that's what you see right here. These men are the enemies of the Israelites, these Edomites, right? These so-called white men, right? This is an image from 1965, right? And I'll give you the backstory and the image in a second. But this is definitely a time when they were overtly what you would call racist, and they were overtly oppressive to our people. And this is nothing new under the sun. They did this in the ancient world, right? But our people, they forget why these nations were able to overcome us, right? Why were they able to come against us? Because the Lord found us in disobedience, right? Let's keep on reading. It says, they have now compassed, I'm sorry, let me read that again. It says, verse 10, it says, they are enclosed, I'm going to read it again, verse 9, from the wicked that oppress me, from my deadly enemies who compass me about. They are enclosed in their own fat. With their mouth, they speak proudly. Absolutely, right? There's video upon video of these Edomites speaking proudly against us, right? They enslaved our people. They overcame our people. They robbed, raped, separated homes. They did everything the curses said they were going to do to us through the spirit and power of Yahawah Shai. They did, and much more. And they speak proudly about it. They boast about it, right? So again, they are enclosed in their own fat. They are with their mouth. They speak proudly. Let's read that in the NLT. That's beautiful because, like, I didn't go too deep in Psalm 17 when I did the lesson the first time. So it says in the NLT, they are without pity. Listen to their boasting. You see, and you can tell that they were beating Jake. Now, the reason why you saw this picture was even taken at all was because of this. Let me go to this real quick. This is a riot that happened in Brooklyn, New York. Now, when I was a kid and I saw this image, I associated this image with the South because that oppression, that police brutality against the so-called Negro, particularly in the 1960s, where they were taking pictures and they were televising and stuff, it was associated with the South, but this was up north. This was a year before Malcolm X was murdered. So anyway, it says 2 terrified African-American girls, which really, these are Israelite women, right? And Israelite men right here. 2 terrified African-American girls flee police officers during a race riot in Bedford-Stuyvesant neighborhood of Brooklyn, itself sparked by the rioting over police brutality in Harlem in 1965. And you still got that going on to this very day, right? To this day, you have police, overstepping their authority and murdering Jake. Obviously, a lot of Jakes, they're out of control. They ain't agreeing with their adversary, but there was a lot of overt racism, overt oppression happening in the 60s, right? The Edomites, they were losing that grip, that Jim Crow grip they had on Jake. And Jake was getting up in masses in these contrived groups because a lot of these protests were set up back then. They didn't know. Internet didn't exist back then. But just like they were being set up today by Marxist groups, the same thing was happening back then. And there was a lot of children getting into these finding themselves caught out in the streets in mass number. And then what was happening was the same police brutality that they were marching against was happening unto them. And like I said, this woman right here, this young girl right here, she's running for her life. She's scared as hell. She don't want to be a victim. This guy right here, he's running for his life. And these are the oppressors. Who's behind them? The heathen, Esau, Edom. And they love it, right? I'm sure that you had some Jakes amongst them, meaning that Edomite looking Jakes, but they didn't know. But just for conversation purposes and illustration purposes, let's just say that these are just all Edomites behind these Israelites, right? Let's go back to Psalm 17, right? So again, it says they are without pity, and they absolutely were. They just wanted to get off. It says, verse 11, they have now compassed us in our steps. They have set their eyes bowing down to the earth. Let's read that in the NLT, right? It says, they track me down and surround me. And you see that all the time. Where these police, just like in back then, even in the ancient world, all right? Even in the ancient world, what were they doing? They were tracking Jake down, and they were looking for somebody to kill. And they were just, they had that bloodlust. These Edomites have a natural bloodlust for blood. They love blood, right? They don't shy away from blood. Excuse me for a second. I'm drinking some ginger tea. So they don't shy away from blood. So this is a time where they could kill a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American. Particularly, we're talking about the Southern Kingdom right here in this image. They can kill them with impunity. Or they'll say, oh, the nigga jumped up, so you had to shoot him. Or the nigga jumped up, so I had to beat him. Right? That's the kind of mentality that they had. Right? So they track me down and surround me, watching for a chance to throw me to the ground. And another illustration for that in this image, image like this is right here. And this is all New York City. And you see two so-called white cops beating a so-called black man in 1964. This might have been the same night well, this is Harlem. So you had riots happening all throughout New York City back then. This dude's got dress shoes on and slacks, whipping Jake ass, and then Jake just standing there and looking. Now, if the Lord was, if we were right with the Lord, YAHAWADAH, this wouldn't be happening. But this is a curse. All right. So let me finish reading Psalm 17, and we'll go back to that. Anyway, it says they have now compassed us in our steps. They have set their eyes bowing down to the earth, like as a lion that is greedy of his prey, and as it were a young lion lurking in secret places. Arise, O Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, disappoint him. Cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. Because what these nations don't recognize, with the so-called white man, the nation of Edom, all these other nations, when they were able to overcome us, it was just the Lord using them as his sword, right? The Lord has many swords in his armor. You got the Arabs, the Ishmaelites, the Moabites, Chinese, Japhites, so-called Polynesian, Melanesian, Micronesian people, the Assyrians, the Hamites. He used these nations different points in dispensation of time to punish us for our iniquities. And these nations, they know this, right? This is another reason why they try to disassociate Jake from being an Israelite, right? They want you to be black, Negro, colored, Latino, Hispanic, Native American. They don't want you to call yourself an Israelite, right? They don't want you to associate yourself with the people of the Bible, right? Because when you do that, you associate yourself with the God of the Bible, which is Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. This is the book of Judah, chapter 5, verse 17. And whilst they sin not before their power, before their God, they prospered, because the power or the God that hated iniquity was with them, right? So when these nations know that when Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is with us, we're going to prosper in every way, not just financially, not just physically or materialistically, but spiritually, and in every way that comes after that, even carnally. Right? Let's keep on reading. Verse 18. It says, but when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. Right? We're here in America. Right? The Northern Kingdom was here first, the so-called Native American Indians, indigenous people of North, Central, and South America. These are who you call Native Americans today, Hispanics, Latinos, tribes of Gad, Reuben, Issachar, and so forth, came over here. But this ain't their land. They were brought over here because of what? Disobedience in our homeland. The Northern Kingdom was the first to be exiled. And then the Southern Kingdom, so-called Negroes, West Indians, and Haitians, we were exiled, right? Because the Lord, what? He found fault with us. And that fault was that we were breaking the laws, statutes, and commandments. Let me see if any thing on the comment board. Miss S is waiting on Yahweh and Yahweh. Shalom to all you brothers and select aqua this one here. Anyway, so this is the reason why we're here, because America is not our land. It's not our homeland. Our homeland is Israel, and it's being overrun and overridden by the heathen nations, chiefly the nation of Edom, Esau, Edom. And that's only happening because we sinned against the Lord, and these nations took it upon themselves to take that land, which was already prophesied in the scriptures too as well. So it says, but when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God, their power, was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by their enemies. And these people are our enemies. These nations are our enemies. You have Israelites scattered amongst them. You have heathens scattered amongst us. But these nations, they are our enemies, all right? And the only reason why our enemies were able to overcome us like this is because what? Because of our iniquities. And you Israelites don't understand it, right? That you see Jake getting beat. Let me go back to this image right here. You see Jake getting beat by the cops. This is not supposed to be so, right? The fear that this young woman and these young women and the other Israelites behind her have, this the kind of fear that these nations supposed to have when they see us. Now these nations don't act scared because of the image that being portrayed via media, social media, pop culture, right? That we're the boogeyman, but really Esau's the boogeyman, right? But this is not supposed to be. This is a curse. To have this kind of fear from a heathen is completely the curses and nothing but. Because in reality, these nations supposed to have that fear when they see one of us, or they see 4 or 5 of us. They supposed to be scared like that, running away, and all they're doing is walking behind them. They ain't running them. They pursuing them, but they just walking. Jake is running for their life right here. This woman was absolutely afraid for her life. Why? Because this is the curse that's written in Deuteronomy 28. So let me keep on reading where I was at. Where was I at? Deuteronomy. Well, I'm sorry, Judith. I just got done reading that. So let me go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, again, verse 15. Right? It says, but it shall come to pass, right? This is the consequence of disobedience. That's right. And that's what this is. When you see Jake getting put up, when you see you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans being put down by these Edomite cops, even Jake cops, when you saw these videos or these pictures of Israelites overcoming these violence, because they were battling. They were what? There's another picture on this page. Let me see if I can find it. You had a little kid here. Look, demonstrators taunt the police during the Harlem riots in 1964. If these are all Israelite men, right? If they had the wisdom of the scriptures back then, right, and understood, they would agree with their adversary and get out the way, right? They wouldn't be taunting Esau. But see, they taunted Esau like this. They clapping their hands, a young little lad jumping up in adulation. But then they forget about this. This turned all of this joy and adulation, right, turned into this that same night, right? Throughout Harlem, throughout Brooklyn, throughout New York City, right, where the so-called Negroes dwelt at. So again, this is the consequence of our disobedience, breaking the law, 7 commandments of the Heavenly Father. Now we understand that the law will not deliver us. but the faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahushua and our obedience. And we show our obedience by doing what? Following the laws and the commandments to the best of our ability, right? And so, Lord willing, the Lord will be with us. So again, this is consequences of disobedience. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord, Shalaki, unto the voice of the Lord thy power, or to the voice of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee, right? And that's what this is. This is a curse, right? Because when the kingdom of heaven is established here in righteousness, this is not going to happen to our people, right? These nations going to have this kind of fear and dread upon them when they see us coming, because they know judgment's coming. Salaki. Okay, so let's go back to Deuteronomy 28, and we're going to go to verse 25. It says, the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shalt be removed into all kingdoms of the earth. This is how we got scattered amongst these nations. So this is not a one-off event. This has happened many times, many times, right? For thousands of years, we had to suffer these consequences, right? But now we have the answers, the full knowledge of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, so we understand why these things happen. And you see this because they, prior to them running, right? It's just a handful of Edomite cops, right? They were out there, jumping up and down, taunting the police until the police got tired of it, and then they brought that club out, that authority stick out, and they came in one way and they scattered like roaches, trying to get away from this man so they don't get caught up in the melee and get abused or put to death. And she looked like she was running for her life. She was yelling and screaming, running for her life. So was her friend and her other friends. He's looking back, trying to get away from these cops, man, because these cops were like wolves, man. But again, this is the curse, and this is how you know we the Israelites, bro, because the so-called them small hats, they're not going through this. These other nations, they ain't going through this. Now they're being oppressed. Something like you go to our homeland in Israel, and them Edomites, them Amalekites that's ruling over there, they're oppressing them Palestinians, which a lot of them are our people too, right? They're oppressing them. You got the kids screaming and hollering. They got the pans. They're looking for food because they're starving. But these nations haven't gone through what we've gone through as a nation, right? This has not happened to them time and time again the way it's happened to our people. And the reason why this is happening, this is our enemies are able to overcome us, is because of our iniquities and our rebellious spirit and our failure to turn back to the Lord, which we know and understand in this truth, through this truth, that only the elect is going to stop being rebellious and turn back to the Lord, sorrowful and repentful. But nonetheless, this is why this happened to our people. If we were right with the Lord, our enemies would never mount a force to come up against us. And if they ever tried, they would be overcome quickly and swiftly, right? Our daughters wouldn't be in the streets. Like, this is a 1964 photo. These girls should have been in the house. Why are they in the streets, right? They protesting, marching on the street for what? They can easily be overcome. So anything could have happened to these girls. They could get, raped. They could get snatched up. They can get put to death. They can get thrown in a prison, and their parents would be none the wiser. They could be abused, because that's what happens. These Edomites, they saw this, and they turned all of this into this. It's like, not this. They turned all of this into this. All of this right here, all that we shall overcome. I am a man. Protesters take the streets of Harlem, protesting police Lieutenant Thomas Gilligan, who shot and killed a 15-year-old African-American boy in 1964. So these protests was happening all across New York in the 60s. It's happening in the 2000s, right? You're going to see more of that happening, right? But all of that turned into this, right? And then you got other old school Jake. They just sitting there looking like, what the hell? I don't know what Jake did. He wasn't agreeing with his adversary. So Esau took the bully club to his head. You know what I'm saying? In Harlem, protests turned violent. Here, 2 policemen beat a man with their nightsticks in 1964. Jake just got a swollen face, beat to shits, and arrested and abused some more. But this is a curse, right? This is Deuteronomy 28 and 25, right? It says, the Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shalt be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. And thy carcass shall be meat unto the fowls of the air and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray thee away. And you can see that in images where Jacob being hung on trees and left for the birds and the dogs and the wild animals in the woods, right? And it says your corpses will be food for all the scavenging birds and wild animals, and no one will be there to chase them away, right? This is a curse. That's the go through this. This is a curse, because on a flip side, there's a flip side to this curse, right? If we are obedient, when we are obedient to Yahweh Shem Shai, it'll be the other way around. Deuteronomy 28 and 7. It says, Yahweh, the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face, and they shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways. So when we're obedient and in the kingdom of heaven, which is going to be here on earth, right, we are going to be obedient to Yahweh Shem Shai, right? Right, we're going to be obedient because our spirit, which is righteous, every Israelite spirit is righteous. It's just that right now we're given into this weak, decrepit, wicked flesh. So 2/3 of our people are given into their lust of their flesh. So they're not leaning on their righteous mindset, a righteous understanding, let alone their spirit. But when the Lord change our bodies, right? When he saves us, when he comes, Yahweh sends the only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, to save us, all right? We're going to get those new bodies that are going to be, it's going to work in tandem with our spirit. Our flesh is not going to be fighting against our spirit, our righteous spirit. That's why Paul said the things that I do, I don't want to do. But the things that I want to do, I don't do. Oh, wretched man that I am. Why? Because it is flesh, right? And so in the kingdom of heaven, we ain't going to have that problem. So we're going to be living the blessings. So whenever these heathen nations see us, they're going to flee 7 ways. They're going to come in one way and they're going to flee. They're going to try to get the hell up out of there, especially these Edomites, right? Especially these Edomites. They're going to try to get away, right? But see, Jake, they're in such a rebellious state. They don't see the advantages of being an Israelite. Why? Because what the Lord said, I will send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie, right? You want to be black, Latino, Native American, Negro. You want to be everything but the child of God. You want to be everything in the world, but because you don't see the advantages in that, right? But there's a great advantage in that. Real quick, it's the book of Romans, chapter 3, verse 1, right? Romans 3 and 1, it says, what advantage then have the Jew, or what profit is there in circumcision, right? When you tell Jake that they're Israelites, they don't see the advantages in that. They don't understand the advantages of circumcision, not only of the flesh of your bride, but what about your mind, right? Well, let's go back. Romans 3 and 2. Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of the Most High, which is this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, which is the commandments, right? In the NLT, it says, yes, there are great benefits. See, our people don't see the benefit in being an Israelite and following Yahweh Shem Shai, but there's great benefits in that. Yes, there are great benefits. First of all, the Jews were entrusted with the whole revelation of the Most High, right? We know that Yahweh Shai came out of the tribe of Judah through his father Joseph, who was out of the house of David. Yahweh Shai himself came from the house of David, right? And he came to his people first. And we also know that was prophecy, because the scripture says that in Genesis 49, our forefather Jacob, he prophesied that the scepter, the rulership, would be in the hands of Judah and would not depart until Shiloh came, which is Yahawadah. Okay? So, coming back to the knowledge and wisdom and understanding of who you are, there's great benefits in that. Knowing that this kind of actions won't be perpetual, and they will never perpetual. They will never set up to be perpetual. Because when these nations ever got the opportunity to get over on us, what would they do? They would go above and beyond what the Lord intended for them to do to us, right? Because they don't have no threshold to stop themselves. They don't have no righteous mind to say, hey, I should stop doing this. These people are wicked. Okay? And like I said, the flip side of this is that these nations going to be scared of us when the Lord renews us and redeems us. These nations going to be scared as shit when they see an Israelite man or even a woman or even a child. This is Deuteronomy 26. I'm sorry, Leviticus 26. And Leviticus 26. And I'm going to start at 6, but the title says the blessings of obedience. Right? So there's a blessing that comes with being obedient. One of those blessings is Leviticus 26:6. And I will give peace in thy land, and ye shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. Right? So our people, when we are established in our own land, we ain't gonna be afraid of none of these nations, bro. First of all, we gonna be in God mode, all of us. From the greatest to the least of us gonna be in God mode. We're gonna be immortal, right? That's not for these nations. That salvation is not for these other nations, right? The Lord put these nations in power for a season, not forever, not in perpetuity. But He's gonna put us in power in perpetuity. We only had to go through this learning lesson, this punishment for a season. That was it. Okay. So in our land, these nations not gonna mount up a force and try to fight against us. They're not going to invade where we live at and police us. They're not going to be the authority over us. We're going to be the authority over them. Okay? And I will give peace, and I will give peace in the land, and ye shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. So we're not going to be afraid of these nations. And I will rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall the sword go through your land. So it ain't going to be no wild beast jumping up, biting Jake, scaring us. You know what I mean? It ain't gonna be no sword coming there, separating us from our land, and them taking and pillaging us. None of that's gonna happen when the Lord reestablishes us. And ye shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before the sword. So we're gonna chase them. Like this image shows you them chasing us. Flip this around, we're gonna be chasing them. All right, and they're gonna fall by the sword. Okay. And 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight, and your enemies shall fall before you by the sword. So 5 of us, well, it's 4 of these kids right here. They're going to chase 100 of these Edomites, and we ain't even going to have to do that. They're going to flee, and not only them, all these nations, and 100 of them. They see 100 Israelites, 10,000 people 10,000 heathens. Going to be set to flight. They're going to be trying to get away because the judgment is coming. Okay? Because of the judgment that's coming. The brother, Salvation for the Elect. Hey, Shalom, my brother. I see you on here. He posted up Genesis 27 and 29. May many nations become your servants. That's right, because that's what these are. You really, the masters is running from the servants in this image right here, right? Who are the masters? The Israelites. It says, may many nations become your servants, and may they bow down to you. May you be the master over your brothers, and may your brothers' sons bow down to you. Who are Esau? He's our brother, but he broke that brotherly covenant a long time ago. But the scriptures say he's going to be he's gonna be our servant. He's gonna bow down to us, right? And it says, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. All who curse you will be cursed, and all who bless you will be blessed. And these nations, they gonna be cursed. This curse that you see right here, this image right here, is gonna be flipped on their heads, right? You go to the book of Deuteronomy 30:7. Deuteronomy 30:7, right? It says, and Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua thy God, will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. So this curse that you see on us right here is going to be put on them, because these curses were also a signet in the earth to show that, hey, we're the Israelites. Deuteronomy 28:45, right? Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. So the only reason why this happens is because of our disobedience, all right, of us not listening to the Lord, following after the customs of the heathen, committing abominable acts, including idolatry, led us to going through these changes that you see right here. But these are going to soon, these shoes are going to be on the heathen feet, especially the nation of Edom, and they ain't going to be able to fit it. And they're going to get a double dose of the destruction. Okay? So going back to what the, Genesis 27:29, that's what brother posted up. Salvation of the elect also posted Daniel 7:18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. So we're going to have control. And this is what Jake don't want. You can tell the way you act. Well, it's okay because it's not given to them right now. They're going to have to know this. 2/3 going to have to know this at the death by pain. Right? But nonetheless, we are going to take the kingdom from these people. And they know it. The super elite know it. That's why they're getting prepared to try to fight against it, because they're scared. All right? So, I think that was pretty much it. I hit every precept that I had up here. This was inspired again by this image that you see right here, which perfectly illustrates Deuteronomy 28:25. All right. And I did this because I was, like I said, I was moved through the spirit to do it. I had posted it up earlier as a pre-recorded lesson, and it didn't have any volume. So I hope that you brothers and you sisters were able to hear me in this lesson, and that you were able to glean some understanding, of the scriptures through this lesson, and that you were edified. Most importantly, the water for you brothers and you sisters, or you brothers posting up precepts, and for the shalawans, and I may the Lord bless you and keep you and watch over you. So with that, I'm going to say shalom and on to the next. Hey, shalom. Shalom.